the second part, we will begin by updating ourselves on our basic subject of long COVID. What are the updates we need to know in the past 5 months, rather 4 months? And then we will discuss with clarity the principles of management specifically applicable to long COVID cases. We will share with you how we categorize these patients in our clinical work and how that categorization helps us practically with prescription. Continuing with the clinical repertories, we will talk about low-grade fever, fatigue. We will give you a summary of the important constitutional remedies, primarily commonly indicated in long COVID. We will also talk about the organ-specific remedies, which are useful in long COVID, related to different organ systems of the body. Of course, the materia medica will be there, calcium, picric acid, and many more. Long COVID and rheumatology, and importantly, cases related to neurological complications of long COVID, cases related to hepatobiliary complications, and cases of cancer with COVID complications. Very important subject we have to face clinically. And now we start our subject proper of the day. Over the past 4 months, many scientific studies have focused on long COVID. Many important institutions are constantly studying it. Much bigger studies have been published since November. But still, there is no accurate definition of long COVID per se. We have the American definition, the WHO description, the British definition, but there is no accurate definition per se. The broad consensus tells us that it represents symptoms lasting more than 3 months after acute COVID infection. And when these symptoms, you cannot relate them to any other cause, then it can be easily concluded that it is a result of long COVID. So long COVID is essentially a diagnosis of exclusion. When you can exclude the other likely reasons for the persisting symptoms, then it is definitely a result of long COVID. And due to this variety of overlapping and varying symptoms, it is quite futile to go on describing the possible symptoms of long COVID. Of course, we know the common symptoms. We must know them. But beyond that, the symptomatology is very vast. Now, this slide we have already seen in the last edition, but I have maintained it in this second part with just one update, which you can see in the third point. How vast is the burden of long COVID? We can assess that when we last met, it was estimated that maybe up to 100 million people are suffering from long COVID globally.